Child's Play was released in 2019 and is a remake of the original Child's Play movie that came out all the way back in 1988. This film was directed by Lars Klevberg and stars Gabriel Bateman as Andy Barkley, Aubrey Plaza as Karen, Andy's mom, Brian Tyree Henry as Detective Mike Norris, Tim Matheson as Henry Caslin, the founder and CEO of the Caslin Corporation, the company that manufactures all the Buddy dolls. And of course, Mark Hamill, or as he's more commonly known as Luke Skywalker, or the voice of Joker from the Batman Arkham games, starring as the voice of Chucky. The multinational Caslin Corporation has just launched Buddy, a revolutionary line of high-tech dolls, primarily designed to be lifelong companions to their owners by learning from their surroundings and acting accordingly. Buddy dolls can also connect to and operate other Caslin products and have quickly become a success for children worldwide. At a Buddy assembly factory in Vietnam, an employee is fired by his supervisor at the start of the film for insufficient work. In retaliation to this, the employee manipulates the doll that he is assembling by disabling all of its safety protocols before taking his own life. And then the doll, with all these safety protocols now turned off, is packed alongside the others in preparation for international delivery. So this is where we get our Chucky origin here. No, it's not quite as elaborate as the serial killer Charles Lee Ray, getting killed in a shootout with the cops and then transferring his soul into a Buddy doll. It's just a guy really who's turned off all the safety features to the doll so the doll can do and say whatever the heck it wants, and that's the origin of it. It wasn't gonna matter what they did for the origin of how Chucky began because it was never gonna stand up to the original Charles Lee Ray storyline and what they did in the original, so they came up with something different, and that's what we got there with how Chucky all began. Some people will like that, some people won't, but I guess it is what it is. So, continuing on. In Chicago, retail clerk Karen Barkley and her 13-year-old hearing-impaired son Andy have moved into their new apartment, where Karen encourages her son to make new friends while she works to prepare for his upcoming birthday. In an attempt to cheer Andy up and make up for the unease caused by the relocation, as well as the presence of her new boyfriend Shane, Karen blackmails her boss in order to get the Buddy doll that a customer had brought in and said it was faulty because the eyes were glowing red. So Karen blackmails her boss, she gets the doll, and she gives it to Andy as an early birthday gift. Once Andy activates the doll, it names itself Chucky and becomes attached to Andy, and that is where this movie all begins. So, what did I think? Well, I thought the movie had a pretty slow start to it. It kind of took a while for things to get moving. Just the pace was just a bit too slow. And that was pretty much for the overall film as well. I felt that. It did definitely pick up in certain parts, and it did pick up a bit towards the end, but especially at the start, a pretty slow start there I found, waiting for stuff to get going. Took a while to get into it. A couple of the casting choices here also were maybe just not quite up to scratch. Wasn't too bad overall with the cast that they got, but maybe just lacked in a couple of areas there. So throughout the movie, I was like waiting for Chucky to get really mean, like the old school Chucky, but he never really did that. His personality didn't really change at all. I thought towards the end of the movie, he might really start ramping it up and start getting really psycho and crazy and mean and angry, like the old school Chucky from the original Child's Play movies. But it just didn't really happen, and I really felt that he needed to do that to really stamp his mark in this new Child's Play movie. Would have really helped his character. Now, I thought Mark Hamill was fine. There was definitely parts there during the movie where you were missing Brad Dourif, the original voice of Chucky. You were kind of missing that original Chucky voice, but that's just to be expected. But I thought Mark Hamill did a good job. As I say, the doll was pretty much had the same tone throughout the whole movie. He didn't really go up or down too much. It was just pretty consistent. Kind of mellowish, really. But that's not on Mark Hamill at all. He's just saying what's been written for him, so I think he did a good job. And I thought that the buddy song that they came up with too, that Chucky sang to Andy, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the look of Chucky, it was a bit off. It was okay, but it definitely could have been a lot better. I get it, like they're going for something new, so I get that side of it, but I think they could have put just a bit more time into getting Chucky's look, maybe just a bit cooler than it was. So I thought the kills were just okay in this movie, nothing too spectacular. The thing with the guy when he's holding onto the pipe, getting cut by that saw blade, that was kind of stupid. He could have just jumped off to the side or something. And why he decided to go anywhere near that saw blade in the end is just baffling, but so that was kind of weird. But the kills were okay. I didn't find them to be anything over the top or anything spectacular or anything like that. I thought the ending of the movie was okay. It was pretty good, how they kind of built to a climax there. As I say, would have liked to have seen Chucky's real mean side come out, but it just never really happened. So overall, with this movie, I thought it was okay. You know, it could have been a lot better. I was expecting a lot more out of this movie. I was hoping for it to be better. I mean, Child's Play has always been a good fun series, and with those recent releases of The Curse and The Cult of Chucky, they're kind of starting to get the franchise back on a good even keel after some missteps with movies like Seed of Chucky, you might say. So I was expecting and hoping for quite a lot in this movie, and for me, it just didn't quite deliver. As I say, I thought it took a while for the movie to really get going, and I found the overall pace of the movie and the action in the movie was overall just a bit slow. As I say, maybe a couple of casting issues here and there could have helped. I just thought they could have kicked up the action in this movie a couple of notches and really kicked this thing off. But it just never really got there. As I say, they built up to a pretty good ending, like right at the end is when the movie kind of finally started taking off, but by then it was kind of too late. But it wasn't a terrible movie. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't go out and buy it, I don't think. I will say I think this movie and this new take on Chucky does have the potential for a sequel. They could just ramp the action up a bit more, ramp Chucky's look up a bit more and his attitude up, and they could put him in some crazy scenario for a sequel, and I think that could work. Alright guys, so time for my final rating. Well, I'm gonna say for me, this movie was just okay, and I'm not happy to say that. I was hoping and expecting for a lot more. I'm gonna give it a 6 to a 6.5 out of 10, tops. I feel that they really could have done just a bit more with this. I found the overall pacing of the movie to be just a bit slow on the whole, as I mentioned before, and there just wasn't quite enough action going on for me. Now, there's going to be people out there who absolutely love this remake. There's going to be people who really hate it. I'm not really in either camp. I'm somewhere right in the middle. As I say, 6.5 tops for me. I think it's cool how they really brought Chucky into the 21st century using all the modern technology and stuff like that. I think, that's a pretty cool angle. That's a fine angle to go with. And I do definitely think there is potential there for a sequel. Something crazy like Chucky takes over New York or something like that. Something crazy and over the top and just with a bit more fun in it. In a completely different setting where Chucky's just raising hell and causing mayhem wherever he goes. So I would say a bit more action and a bit more of that fun that we all remember from those original Child's Play movies. And I think it'll be fine.